Hi guys, it's lovely to see you back here. As I've mentioned before, this week is all about whispering, but this is the soft-spoken version that's available for anyone who supports the channel on a monthly basis. So, I am very happy to welcome you here, and without any further ado, I give you random ramblings from my notebook. December 2nd, 2019. As I'm writing this, I sit in one of London's libraries. The 7-minute walk I took to get here reminded me that autumn is long gone. As the chilliness of the air pierces through me, I realize it helps me be more mindful. The cold takes my mind off the restlessness I felt just moments ago, back in the flat. As I step into the library, I feel a rush of warm air. I'm lucky today. I found a snuggly spot at the table, right next to a window with a glowing view of London. Last bits of sunshine reflect off the windows in the distance. Some lights are already on, and all this creates a sparkly show against the gloaming sky. I feel something, but I'm not exactly sure what. It's a mixed bag. I'm both completely alone while being at one with the people around. A girl sits across from me. When I raise my head up to look out the window every now and then, I catch a glimpse of her eyes, her gaze focused on whatever's at her desk. Her presence reminds me, just for this brief moment, that there's more than just me, that her existence is as valid as mine, her universe as vast as mine, and there are billions of them. I begin to wonder what she's like. Nothing creepy, just wanting to know if any bits of our realities outside this library overlap. I like to notice the illusion of me being the center of the world every now and then. Makes me feel good, humbled. Next time I look up from the pages of my notebook, it's almost dark outside. 4:22 p.m. That's when the sky looked perfect on December the 2nd, 2019. As I catch a reflection of my face in the window, I realize how far I've come over the past few months. Too often I forget to pat myself on the back for small victories. Too often, when I reach one goal, I instantly move towards a new one, craving more and more. I can't fully appreciate anything, because the moment I grab something that felt unattainable just the other day, it all of a sudden feels like it never was a challenge in the first place. Yet, here I am, moved to a new country. Ticked pretty much all of the bullet points of my social anxiety list. I have to say, London's been treating me well. I feel like I've been misplaced for the past 30 years. Being here feels like being that last puzzle piece, fitting in extreme satisfaction. The other day, I went for a long walk around my potentially new living spot. I immediately felt comfortable, soothed, as though there was some spooky energy in the air, calling me to stay. It could have been the beer though. I believe you should always trust your intuition on that. If the vibe is that powerful, just follow it. So yeah, that was a nice day, but life won't let me get too comfortable. Of course not. The moment you're almost convinced your anxiety is conquered and you've successfully eliminated it from your life, it just creeps back out of nowhere, which is probably more annoying than the anxiety itself. The reminder that you're still a slave, less than you were just a month ago, but still. I wonder if, with enough effort, anyone can be released from its shackles. And if so, how would that effort be defined? What are you supposed to do? How do you get there? Do lots of inner work, interrogate yourself, take yourself apart and then put it back together again? Or do you let it all go and do hundreds of hours of meditation that actually takes you away from all the inner turmoil? Maybe both. Who knows? Writing definitely helps. Over an hour and 6 pages later, I feel calmer, more present. It just hit me that the artist's way was right. Writing is a form of meditation. A weird one though. It's very physical and in the moment on the one hand, but you're also literally drowning in thought, which is kind of the opposite of what mindfulness is. Anyway, I look up and it's already dark outside. I try to count all the lights in the windows and all the passing cars, realizing that each would tell a different story today. The dull green fluorescent light drags me back into reality. And then my mind wanders to YouTube. How weird. Some humans will use any opportunity to tear you apart, even if you leave the door just slightly open. When you gently invite them to give you pointers while you're meandering through an uncharted territory of ASMR. Some people are soft and supportive. They manage to find a way to express their opinions in a warm manner. Others choose to use this opportunity to just walk through the door with their dirty shoes and relentlessly make fun of you or throw loaded words at you. This is ridiculous. Or, I hate what you've become, they'll say. Because why wouldn't they? After all, you've invited them, foolishly hoping they will give back what you gave them earlier. How does anyone take pleasure in putting other people down? Just the thought of being unkind makes me squirm. And although I pride myself on being an empath and being able to not just understand but actually feel what someone else does, this one thing still eludes me. It's so easy to just be kind, I think to myself. But then I realize that most of us didn't choose. We were shaped by external forces while growing up. The fact that I'm me is just sheer coincidence. So every time I disagree with anyone, I try to be more mindful of that. I wonder if that's the same mechanism that makes us believe in the myth of pure evil. We like to think that evildoers are pure in their evil motives. No shades of grey, ever. Just sadism and greed. Victims, on the other hand, are pure in their victimhood. Things just happen to them for no reason at all. Always. How unfortunate. Diverting a bit, I personally think it usually takes two people. Even if we do something unconsciously or unintentionally, the other person has every right to be affected by it in some way and act accordingly, of course. When relationships fall apart, it's never just one person. It's a bitter pill to swallow, I know, but helps heal any feelings of resentment or self-blame. What stopped me from doing ASMR videos was this ridiculous next level perfectionism that won't just keep you working for hours. No, it will prevent you from putting anything out there, even once it's finished. It will prevent you from even starting any work at all. I think where this comes from is how some of us produce this perfect vision of how a work is supposed to look like once it's finished, before anything happens at all. And then the bar is set so high that it becomes impossible to reach that level. Maybe it's better to just have a general idea of what you want to create and then just sit down and let it flow. Abstract painting provides a great opportunity to practice that. I personally have this ridiculous thing of always having to be the best, or at least good, at whatever I do. Painting, pool, bowling, ice skating, ASMR, you name it. When I'm not, I immediately quit. As soon as it becomes obvious there's no chance of getting better. When I first started painting, I couldn't even enjoy it because of these absurd expectations. But as I went on, I slowly learned to let it go. I have this fear of singing in front of people because I know I sound terrible. That's got to be on top of my social anxiety list. But I've been smashing it for the past few months, almost in a constant out of your comfort zone state. I'm hoping to break through that one day. I've got a singer friend who could probably teach me how to sound decent, but just the thought of doing that in front of them fills me with dread. One day though, maybe one day. I think this is a good example of what I mentioned in the previous video, where you just assume you're shit at something. So, me at singing, and you'd prefer to hold on to the assumption rather than check if it's actually true. Why? Because it leaves a tiny window of uncertainty that makes you feel good. Maybe there's still a chance that all of this is not true after all, and you are indeed a wonderful singer / whatever. As I try to gather my thoughts before I write anything else, another unwanted sting of inadequacy and inferiority passes through my mind. Oh God, and I thought I had this out of the way for today. And so I get annoyed, because I know I'm doing this to myself. At this point in life, I have no reason to feel bad about myself. Yet, here I am, comparing myself to a complete stranger, convincing myself I'm worse in so many ways. And I know this. I'm perfectly aware of this self-sabotaging process, but I can't make it stop. So I begin an exercise my therapist introduced me to. I list all of my strengths as perceived by other people, and then I immediately get annoyed at how stupid it is to base my well-being around what others think of me. How self-centered. Well, I guess being aware of all those processes is still better than being blissfully ignorant, even though I'm still very far from complete inner tranquility. I take a moment to pause and think. I like the weight of my pen. I like how it balances in my hand. Just a random thought I had and felt like writing it down. I've been in the library for almost 3 hours now. The pauses between each time my pen touches the paper become longer and longer. I think that's a sign for me to leave it for today. A thought crosses my mind. All this has been about me. It's how I feel, what I think. Is it vain to think anyone might want to listen to this? And then I realise that worrying if I'm perceived as narcissistic is just another form of being self-centered, a vicious cycle. It would appear there's no escaping the eye, at least for now. As I close my emerald green notebook that perfectly matches the colour of my furry coat, I get ready to venture out into the cold evening glow of the city.